What is up, replay viewers? So glad that you are here for more videos, content, articles, all that good stuff. You can check me out at the blog, anotherchristianblog.org. If you're watching the replay of this, which I'm glad that you are, you can just scrub forward through the introductions and all that good stuff, and you can find the beginning of the Psalms series that we're doing today. Psalm chapter 4. Number 4 is where we're going to be today. To all you guys jumping on, thanks for being here. Glad that you are here. So we're gonna give it a little bit of time before we dive on into Psalm chapter 4. David, saw that you were in here. Thanks for being here, brother. Glenn Seal is in here. Glenn, nice having you. Carell, thanks for being here. So we'll give it a little bit of time. On a weekday, 10:30 Central Standard Time. Probably not a ton of people going to sign on. But I'm committed to continue doing the Psalm series. And, it's something that I was going to do yesterday, but couldn't get around to it. So I figured, hey, I'll do it today and continue going forward on it. Anyway, for those of you who are not aware, for those of you jumping in, we're gonna start here shortly. Had a very interesting interaction on Blab last night. Carell, thanks for being here. Had a very interesting interaction on Blab last night. And if you're not familiar with Blab, it's a very new platform. It's kind of like a mix between Periscope and Google Hangouts. It's pretty cool, actually. Got a chance to talk to an atheist and share the gospel, and that's always a good time. So I'm thinking of possibly doing a Blab tonight for those of you who are interested. Not sure exactly what time yet, so we'll see whether I can actually do it or not. So that's something to be on the lookout for. I'll probably Periscope about it first and let y'all know about it. And so anyway, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. For those of you who are watching this later on YouTube, I'm glad that you are watching this. For those of you on Periscope, hi. Nice to see you guys. Well, I'm not really seeing you, am I? Anyway, so Psalm chapter 4 is where we're going to be today. And hey, thanks for inviting your followers. It's greatly appreciated. And okay, Arthur, you're awesome. So anyway, so we're going to dive in Psalm chapter 4. And this is part of the Psalm series that I'm doing, and I'm going to walk through the Psalms. Yeah, you're awesome. Okay, Arthur, you're awesome. Appreciate it. And making our way through the Psalms and seeing what the Word of God has for us. So Psalm chapter 4, starting at the first verse, of course. Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. You have given me relief when I was in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. And so David, right? David is the writer of this psalm, and he is coming before God with a contrite heart, right? He's coming to God with a spirit of humbleness. And I love the first saying, answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. And that's important for us to live in. The fact that it's not our righteousness, right? Our righteousness before God is like filthy rags. It is God's righteousness that we stand in. And I love that saying, that it is God's righteousness that we clothe ourselves in, not our own righteousness. And it's important for us, especially if you're a Christian, to remember that. It's easy to get upset at people. It's easy to get mad. But we do not clothe ourselves in our own self-righteousness, but rather God's righteousness. You have given me relief when I was in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. See, David doesn't come before God and say, no, you need to hear my prayer, right? God needs to hear me. No, he comes before God, right, with that contrite heart. He's saying, God, please hear my prayer. Hear me when I call to you. Verse 2. O men, how long shall my honor be turned into shame? How long will you love vain words and seek after lies? And today in our society, this is extremely prevalent, right? We turn things that are honorable into things that are shameful. We turn things like sacrifice and the giving of oneself into shame. And we see that played out throughout our culture, right? Through things like abortion, right? It is self-sacrificial, and it should be something that is beautiful for a mother to give birth to a child and raise a child, and for a family to come together and sacrifice for their children. But our society said, no, that's not honorable. That isn't something to be honored. We see that in our culture today. How long will you love vain words, words that ultimately have no meaning, right? Words that are haughty, right, but actually are not true. And then he says, and seek after lies. Kind of describes America. Verse 3, but know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord, that's Yahweh, hears when I call to him. This is important, especially as we see a mass exodus from the church. People are starting to leave the church, not starting. People are leaving the church as nominal Christianity, cultural Christianity, starts to dwindle. What's going to happen, or typically what happens, is that people start feeling like they're alone, right? People start thinking, man, I thought this person was a Christian. They're leaving. Right? But we have to understand God is working, and he's setting apart people for himself. It's kind of like the remnant in Israel, right? God has a remnant. There are people who have not bowed the knee to false idols in Israel, and we're reminded of that in the Old Testament. And we have to kind of have that mindset as Christians, as people start leaving the church, as people start trying to attack the church, as people start questioning it. Oh, that's cool, Shacker. That's cool. Can I ask for what? Why are you going to Israel? And so we have to remember God is working. God is still at work. And if you're a Christian, you believe that. God is still working, and he can work through us. Verse 4, be angry and do not sin. Ponder in your own hearts, on your beds, and be silent. That phrase, be angry, is interesting because we are called, right, as Christians, not to have anger that causes us to sin, right? Work. Have many friends there now and have visited the old city in Jerusalem. Okay, cool. And typically what happens, right? There is a righteous anger to have towards sin. And that's what David, I think, is really driving at. Be angry and do not sin. Right? So we get angry at sin. I get angry at my own sin. I hate my sin. I want to be more like Christ. I hate my sin, right? And I want to be more like Christ. And we should be pondering that in our hearts. Right? So when we're sleeping, we should be pondering that. We should do so in silence. And I think oftentimes when people are silent, when people are by themselves, when they're away from the distractions of the world, that is when we typically see God at work in our lives, because we get so distracted by everything else that pulls at us and draws at us. Verse 5, offer right sacrifices and put your trust in Yahweh. Offer right sacrifices and put your trust in Yahweh. Now, being in the New Testament, right, being in the New Covenant, we understand that the right sacrifice is our lives, right? We are supposed to be living sacrifices. And the once for all sacrifice was Christ on the cross. right? And so David is encouraging people. He is saying, look, you have to have right sacrifices and put your faith, put your trust in Yahweh. That is where our trust lies. It doesn't lie in the ways of the world. It doesn't lie in other things. My hope, my trust lies with God, the creator of everything, the sustainer of everything. Hey, thanks for being here. Verse 6, they are many who say, who will show us some good? Lift up the light of your face upon us, Lord. And then verse 7, you have put more joy in my heart than they have when their grain and wine abound. I absolutely love that statement. You have put more joy in my heart than they have when their grain and wine abound. Right? So he's setting up this dichotomy, right? He's setting up this parallel, if you will, that God grants us more joy than when things go right for the unbeliever, right? Because in that time, if you had a good harvest, right, and you were filled with wine, you were happy, right? Life was good. Life was great. And so he's comparing that feeling to the joy we have in God, right? And so God is the one that puts joy into our heart, knowing that we are His, He is ours. That should be a joyful proclamation. And for me, right, it's a reminder to live in that joy. See, because the grain, right, the harvest and the wine are temporary. That's a temporary happiness. But the joy that comes from the Lord is everlasting. It's forever. It's ongoing. It's beautiful. So verse 7, you have put more joy in my heart than they have when their grain and wine abound. I love that. Well, there you go, Shacker. It's like 10:40 a.m., bro. You might have a problem. Verse 8. In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, Yahweh, make me dwell in safety. Oh, Stu. Yeah, that's right. Oh, okay, so it's later. Yeah, Stu. Okay, so then you're good. You're probably okay then, if you want a glass of wine. Stu. That's right. I actually remember that now. But, my brain. What can I, I'm an idiot. What can I say? For you alone, Yahweh, make me dwell in safety. David's trust is firmly placed in the Lord. David's trust is fully placed in God. And that is what I strive to do, right? We get in situations that aren't fun. We get in situations that aren't easy. We get in situations that are tough. And we can't control our circumstances a lot of times. But we can control where we place our faith, where we put our trust. And at the end of the day, I know that my safety is in the Lord. My trust is in the Lord. And when everything comes, everything comes down to where do you find your joy, where do you find your purpose, and where do you find your hope? And my hope dwells in the Lord, right? My purpose dwells in the Lord. My joy dwells in the Lord. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, I hope that you have enjoyed and are enjoying the Psalm series. I'm going to try to keep it going. Yes, so I am on Catch, K. Arthur. So all of mine are caught on Catch. And so you can find me on there. And you can catch the replays. I also put them on my blog and upload them usually the next day. Or you can, they'll be up for 24 hours on Periscope. And David, I appreciate the encouragement. brother. It's really a joy to be able to have this platform and to be able to share God's word with people and to interact with people. I love that as well. Yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, Stu, I did blogging for a long time. Well, let me close this out and then I'll address you. So I hope that you've enjoyed the series or are enjoying the series. We're going to continue on. Next time that we are together in the Psalm series, it'll be Psalm chapter 5. So thank you guys for being here. And so, Stu, anyway, what I was, when I wasn't in ministry, I did a lot of writing to kind of just keep my theological brain going. And so I wrote a lot more, but now what I've started doing is using my blog more as a vlog. So I take my periscopes and I post them on my blog. So it's a little different, but I have to find a better way to like recycle some of my old posts because I don't want it to just be video content. Where is it? So anotherchristianblog.org is where you can find my blog. And so I need to, yeah. So, we don't either. You're scary. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. And so I need to find a way to kind of repurpose some of my writing because I like the writing. It's just, in my job right now, being in youth ministry, I do 3 messages a week for students, and so I'm writing all the time, and it's tough for me to get around to writing new blog posts. And so I'm like, hey, I can use this. You just sleep a lot. Yeah, I do just sleep a lot. That's all I do all day is sleep. And actually, I'm working from home today, so I have the blessing. Oh, you must sleep a lot. Yeah, Mike. I've just started writing in terms of things that. Yeah. It is. It can be. For me, Stu, I see what you're saying, Mike. Okay, I see what you're saying. Dude, preaching and speaking is tough, man. People don't understand how difficult it is to preach. And then afterwards, man, I just want to crash. Yeah, no, I feel you. Okay, I see where you're going then. Yeah, I need to sleep more, though. I should be sleeping more. But, yeah, Stu, I used it as a tool to just be able to, share my viewpoint. I'm still not over my sermon on Sunday. Someone can... That's funny. David. I have that same problem listening to sermons. That's awesome. For those of you who are jumping in, this is kind of the after Psalm series. So if you'd like to hear about Psalm chapter 4, catch the replay after this is done. I'll also be posting it on my blog. This is kind of just we're interacting, having fun. My blogs will all be swim base. Yeah, I saw that you were a swimmer. No atheism or religious content. Yeah, after the Psalms, it's the after party. You got that, Mike. And so, yeah, I mean, writing about stuff that you care about, I think is really good. And I care about Jesus, right? I don't know if you could tell or not, but I care about Jesus, and so that it really helped me to be able to keep kind of in that mindset, and to work through things. And writing actually is a good way for people to really think through what they believe and the views they hold, because then they can, as you're writing it, I use Scottish preacher sermons. David, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's a good way for people to kind of look at it and be like, wow, if you could ask the man to part the English Channel for me. Oh, so you could just run across it? You want to just run across the English Channel? Is that? Yeah, gotcha. It's funny, I love, and I don't really know you, Stu. It would be fun to actually talk to you sometime. But, I love atheists who are like, oh, well, let's put prayer into this scientific, into this science experiment, and we'll have people pray and see what prayers come true. It's like as if God, right? So let's just say, Yeah, yeah, you should scope, man. I don't know if I do follow you. Let's see. I'm gonna go right now. No, I don't. So, okay, you're followed. Okay. So Stu has been followed by me. Oh, well, I need to go back. Let's see. There you go. So you've been followed. Okay. It is. It is kind of a tough form. At first, it's really weird. Like the first time I scoped, it was super strange because all you see is yourself on the screen, and it's like, whoa, this is really weird. But I do too. I do too, and that's why I'm kind of getting into Blab a little bit more. I want to start doing Blabs more. The problem is on Blab, because I want to record it. Like I want to record it and reuse it, right? And yeah, Mike, I just scoped Stork. That's awesome. And so I want to record it because I want to repurpose it, right? So I want to post it on YouTube. I want to put it on my blog. But people don't want to go on really if they're recorded. And I wish more people would. I mean, it is what it is. But some people are just more comfortable. And so I think this, in a way, gives people a voice and they can just chat. They can kind of write it down instead of having to be on the screen themselves. But if you have you used Blab at all, Stu? If you have, what do you think of Blab? Yeah, I know, Mike. I tend to be on a little bit later. I like to use the evenings to kind of just hang with my wife, and then when she goes to bed, usually I'm on. But sometimes that is late, especially you being on the East Coast. I know it's tough, but it's you know, it is what it is. And I actually need to do a better job of getting off Blab. I was on Blab last night. Oh, you are Central. Oh, you're Central? Okay. I think that these kinds of subjects. Oh, I didn't catch all that, Stu. I'm sorry. Um. Oh yeah, Mike, you'd be Central, right? New Orleans. New Orleans is Central. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You must be kind of. Actually, we're not that far away from each other, Mike. We should meet up sometime, brother. Messages typed quickly. Misunderstood. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, and yeah, 5 hours isn't that bad. If meet in the middle, that is not that bad. Yeah, yeah, Stu, you're right. Because, and really, when you have type, when you have text. Oh, I did not know that, Mike. I did not know that. When you have text, you don't read tone. Okay, cool. I think I remember that part, but I didn't know that you lived in Houston. Um, and you can't read tone or anything like that. Sarcasm doesn't come through. It's a tough form, and I know, right? So when I do my Q&As, like it's totally not fair. I'm getting followed by women. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, David. So when I did my scope yesterday on porn, yes, it is. Yes, it is, Caleb. It really is. It's terrible. When I did my scope yesterday on porn and in love, like there are people who follow you, and if they have like a website link, oh yes, dude, totally, totally. And if they have a website link and they're like, "Hey boys, you want to come chat?" Just block them. Just block them right away because it's a stupid sex thing. It's really dumb. And so I learned the hard way, like, don't put hashtag porn in your scope because that gets put on Twitter and it's bad. But good example, the scope you did, that was an interesting subject. Ended up discussing it. Yeah, I think, it's a big, from our perspective, Stu, and you asked some interesting questions, but it actually does do damage. It really does. Pornography does. But it's only on your scopes. Not sure why. Oh, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know, David. I don't know. If you're a sketchy person, follow David. Maybe that's why, because I announce it. So if you're really sketchy, right, and, follow David. Oh, man, that's funny. I'll get on. Oh, yeah, Caleb will get on it. Yeah, that's right. But you thought I was mocking. We disagree on the point, but texted. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't think that you were necessarily mocking. Um, oh, is that right, Mike? Like dropping as far as like people dropping out? Or like after like when when they save them for the 24 hours. Oh, yeah, that's weird. That is weird. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I haven't seen any problems on my end, but my Periscope is weird too. Like, I see no hearts. I have never seen hearts appear on my screen, not once. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I don't ask for hearts. Or if people are giving me hearts, I'm like, you know, typically. Oh my gosh, that's funny. But like, people when people start giving them hearts, they're like, "Oh, thanks for the hearts, guys," or whatever. I never say that because I never see them. I don't know what it is about my scope, but I cannot see hearts. Oh yeah, so this shirt right here, it says uncommon, and this was the shirt that we had for our senior high retreat. So every year we do a junior high retreat and a senior high retreat, and we order shirts for students that go on it. And this was the shirt for this year. So it's like a pixelated cross, and the theme this year was uncommon. So we talked about an uncommon God, being uncommon, stuff like that. Yeah, so we try to make the shirts pretty cool. I appreciate it, David. Yeah, so and really we want to make shirts that kids want to wear. That's the tough thing. Making shirts that kids are like, hey, that's cool. I would wear that. So we don't get shirts just to represent the church or anything. It's mainly, and it's a way for students to remember what they learned and stuff. So yeah, no, it's a cross. Yeah, it's a cross. Yeah, so Stu, my mom is not a believer. My sister is not a believer, and my brother is not a believer. The only believer in our family is me and my dad. My dad became a Christian when I was in third grade. And so my mom isn't and pretty much has never gone to church, and my dad is a believer. Yeah, it's a very interesting, it's a very interesting, yep, usually it's the other way around. Yep, usually it's definitely the other way around. Um, and so usually the mom's the one bringing kids to church if both parents don't go. And so I have kind of an interesting, I mean, I have a typical story, I think, but an interesting one. I didn't grow up like believing in God or anything. I went to church, but I didn't really believe it. So, um, you know, more than welcome to talk to you about it at some point. But what's my take on other faiths? Yeah, so I'll answer a couple of those. So my take on other faiths is that I don't know exactly what you mean by that, Stu, but if you're talking like Islam, Islam is false, and the reason why Islam is false, yeah, they're wrong. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're wrong. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me." And so salvation only comes through Jesus. I'm not a liberal Christian who would be like, "Oh yeah, there's many paths to God," right? I'm not that type of a Christian. I actually believe what Jesus taught. So, but yeah, my dad had a big influence on me, bigger than I realized. Yeah, they're false. End of story. That that would work, Caleb. I could have probably just said that. But my dad had, yeah, no ambiguity, none, zero. So, my dad had a bigger influence on me than I realized at the moment because my dad was, when he got saved, he was a faithful guy. He would read his Bible pretty much every day. And being a teenager, I saw that, right? I saw my dad faithfully reading the Word of God and trying to apply the Word of God to his life. And he was by no means perfect, just like none of us are. But seeing how it changed him, yeah, how it changed him, was one way that God reached me, really. And even in my sin, even in my rebellion against God, I saw that my dad was different. my dad really took his faith seriously. And, there's nothing wrong with being an influence. We're all influenced by someone, right? But my dad had a bigger influence over me than my mom because, um, at the end of the day, um, you know, my dad's faith is really what gave him a drive to be a better dad and a better person. And it's really, seeing that transforming work was like, it was huge. I'd be interested in joining a blab so I could explain my take. Yeah, Stu, I am more than willing to do a blab. I'm going to try to be on tonight, but that probably will end up being too late for you. I don't know. Maybe we can find a time to, that would work for you to be on Blab. I can't right now. I have to get back to work because I'm actually working from home today. I'm not just home, you know, for the sake of it. I actually have stuff I got to get done today. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is, Stu, like a lot of people are on Blab late here in America, and I think most of them. Caleb, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be on tonight. I was invited to be a guest on another one at 7, and they're talking about revival, and I think I might troll them a little bit and say I don't think revival is the right term because there are a lot of false revivals. I think we need a great awakening, and I want to kind of challenge their perspective a little bit on that. But no one invites me to blabs. I'd invite you to a blab, Mike. And so I don't know if what I really want to start doing is try to record some of them, Caleb, and get them up on my blog and get them on YouTube. But the honest truth is, a lot of people don't want to be recorded. Yeah, thanks. I'll pass. I don't get invited to blabs. Hey, I'll invite you to my blab. No, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, Chuck, I'll kick you off real fast, brother. I'll kick you off real fast. Okay, Stu, I don't know exactly what time tonight. It might be it'll probably be a later one. So, but I'll definitely, if you stay in contact with me, my Twitter is the same as my Periscope. Sometimes people's are different. But my Twitter's the same. So if you want to like chat me on Twitter, yeah, people get scared for some reason. I don't want to talk live. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Oh, well, I probably will, Stu. I probably will, you little thief of my worldview. I might do that. Well, because if you do it, I'm going to call you out on it, right? Because if you're not going to live consistently in your worldview, I'm going to call that out. But, I think I'm a pretty. Haven't you oppressed? What's a blab? Man, I'm behind one. Yeah, so blab, Jamie, it's daft. I can't get head around it at all. Well, just because you think it's daft doesn't mean it actually isn't true, right? Yeah. So Jamie, blab is if you go to blab.im, that's the website. It's a website. It's and an app. It's like a combination. Oh, my wife is calling. I'm going to reject it for now. I will explain this and then I'm going to hop off and call my wife back. So blab.im, that is a website, and it's like Periscope and Google Hangout kind of a thing where you have a chat on one side and you have 4 people can talk to each other at the same time on the screen. So yeah, if you go open up your web browser and you type blab.im, you'll find it there. So anyway, guys, I got to run. I got to call my wife back because she's awesome. So I'm going to call her back. I might be on a little bit later and, do a trolley Periscope or something. I don't know. So we'll